What's up, RFBB fam? We got a very special one for you. So, once again, I've done this once before, but I figured I would take a submission and then go over my own blood work just to show you guys how we do blood work reviews, especially when we're doing it from a coaching standpoint. What we need to look at, if guys are on gear or not, and how to evaluate and come up with a suggestion for them to fix it. Obviously, you want them to see their doctor if something's way off, but a lot of times guys will come to you for guidance and want some suggestions on how you would fix your own blood work per se. So once again, not medical advice. This is for entertainment purposes only, but we'll dive into it in just 1 second. So this will be the blood work from my follower Nico MSCJ. He's always one who's on the fence about coaching, so we'll see if he really needs it, depending on his blood work here. For full transparency, his cycle right now is 200 tests, 120 mass, so pretty light overall. Let's dive into the first one. So RBC, HGB, hematocrit is super high. So clearly he's dehydrated, or he's letting his blood run too high, his red blood cell count, his hematocrit, etc. Most guys I will find probably 90% of the time you just did not hydrate enough before you went in, especially if the RBC is barely high and then hematocrit's super high. You see that a lot. So you really need to drink at least 3 liters of water. If you can, drink a whole gallon before you go in. A lot of people like to do their blood work right when they get up, but that's when you're the most dehydrated. So a lot of times it does not make sense to do your blood work first thing in the morning. In terms of having to do it fasted or not, no other country besides I think the US and Australia really do it fasted anymore. So kind of let that be a little bit of food for thought. If you are diabetic or it is typically high your blood sugar, yeah, you probably should do it fasted. But the reality is you're also doing the finger prick and checking your glucose all the time. So unless you're like testing your insulin specifically, I don't think it really makes much of a difference. Your A1C is going to test your blood sugar over a long period of time. And you know, if you're diabetic, you're testing it all the time yourself. But obviously if you want that blood draw to be accurate, I would definitely consider not eating if you're diabetic. But the average person, how many times a day do you go 16 hours without eating? I don't ever go that. That's not my normal. That's my baseline. So does it make sense to fast for me? No, because it's going to be inaccurate. I'm never in that state. So just food for thought on that. But pull up the next little bill here. Everything was pretty good there. Platelet count's not high, and that's when you worry about. Now here's where he's a little spicy. So his A1C is almost pre-diabetic. So we're going to see in a second here what this leads into. So now when we go to his cholesterol panel, it is fucking terrible, if we're being honest. I know he pushes back on hiring a coach all the time. Honestly, your gear load is not that high, but you definitely need to fix your fucking diet. And that's just shooting it straight. Like, there's no way your cholesterol should be that high. Your triglycerides are through the fucking roof. You're already pre-diabetic. Your very low density is high. I'd love to see his ApoB because it's probably not good either. So you're at risk for heart disease, like plain and simple. So the diet needs to get under control. And that is one of the things that people struggle the most with. And I find with coaching, a lot of times just that adherence and having somebody actually give you a plan to stick to makes the biggest difference. Because let's be honest, you can keep making excuses to say, I don't have the money right now, blah, blah, blah. You know, there's ways coaches can work with you. There's options. If you just keep putting that lower on your priority list though, at the end of the day, your health is at risk. And the only person that likes hearing excuses is the person making them. So that's just being real with you. Like, if you need to fix your diet, either you need to take initiative and do it yourself or hire a coach or somebody to help you, because this is kind of unacceptable, especially the triglycerides being that high. Like, this is high inflammation and heart disease risk, like screaming at you right now. I don't think he gave me I mean, you look at it. So I don't have the exact number of his LDL. Okay, there it is. 137. Yeah, 137 is too damn high. Your HDL is low. HDL is going to be low on gear. That's normal. That's okay. But when you see the very low density and your LDL that high, I would use ezetimibe. Your triglycerides are utterly awful. This is a guy who's a candidate for a GLP-1, I think, too. Obviously, I'm not prescribing that, but he would benefit probably greatly from retatrutide and fixing his diet. Now, just using Retta to fix this is not a band-aid. You need the diet to support it too. So if you're going to be on gear, make the most of it and make your diet actually reflect the work you're putting in the gym. Like, it just doesn't make sense to buy the gear, buy the food, buy the gym membership, spend the time doing it and get half-ass fucking results. I don't know. I'm just one of those that I only work with high performers. Like, I'm used to seeing them perform non-negotiable shit every single fucking day. And if they fall off, it's like, okay, well, you can't do anything about it. You fell off for a day. Get back on track. And they get back on track and we get the results. So I just don't understand this mindset some people have where they'll get mid to okay, if any, results on gear for 5 fucking years and still still refuse to ask for help. It's just an ego thing at the end of the day. And honestly, I wish more people would just drop the fucking ego, get the help, and actually look and feel the way they should. So that's my analysis on that part. You'll see with my blood work the difference when your diet's dialed in versus not, with especially the cholesterol panel. So yeah, he didn't have a full panel. So yeah, his test was 1100 and his free was high, and that was kind of expected. The dose he's on is basically a TRT dose. So overall, some of the stuff is okay, but the fact you're dehydrated, your diet sucks, and you've asked about coaching multiple times, tells me that there's definitely things that need to be worked on with the diet. Training might be okay. You can't really tell unless I've seen it. He doesn't have any profile pictures or anything, so we can't see his physique, but gear is not the fix for not having the diet in check, if we're being honest. I like that you're taking the steps and trying to, and you're starting to get the ball rolling, but changes still need to be made. So that's the end of his blood work. He didn't give me a full panel. Mine is the full $450 panel off Anabolic Insights. I'll have their code linked down below. Right now, I still think they're 51% off, and I have a code RFEB10 for 10% extra off on their blood work. Yeah, so there's my panel that's good for bodybuilding. It's $250. I suggest using that one at least once or twice a year. But yeah, if you want their cheaper panels right now are on sale for 51% off, and then you can use my code RFBB10 to get an extra 10% off. I did the full panel, which this is the men's performance optimization package. That one actually isn't on sale. That is a big one. The women's panel is also on sale. So occasionally he puts certain ones on sale just to encourage people to go on there and actually do their blood work. He's even got a natty or not one. That's for calling the bullshit out. So, if you see any fake natties out there, go ahead and send them this. Realistic Fitness, there's my panel right there. So let's dig into mine. Mine wasn't the best either. Full context though, this was also, so I took 3 days off of training because my air conditioning was out. I live in the South. It was 82 degrees in my house. It was 95 outside. It was 99 one day. So I was sweating my literal dick off the whole time. And I was like, all right, I'm also in the middle of moving. So I'm like, I'll take 3 days off. I'll do the moving stuff. I don't have any AC. I'm not sleeping well. I'm just gonna take the training off and do the blood work. I took 2 days off of training. And then the third day, I just got fucking sick of it because I was dealing with other shit too. It was just a mess of a week. And I said, fuck it. And I went and did arms. So my liver values might be a little high because I did train right before the blood work. Smart. Blood work wasn't in my mind at the time. I was pissed off over something else. So let's dive into it. So I'm probably gonna use this bottom one here. This is nice to pop them out, but they're still dialing in the interface on the website here. It's a new company, but let's go ahead and look. So my hemoglobin, hematocrit, MCV, those are literally never high for me. I'm usually on the low end. So for me, you're gonna get a bigger picture of it in a second. I'll click on each individual ones, but you'll see monocytes were a little high. Everything that was off, let's just go over real quick. Sodium was a little low. Usually my sodium's not low either. Like what is the big picture here, Prolactin's always something I battle. I was out of P5P at the time. I since re-upped on that. I bet you that's back in check because I don't have the nipple puffiness anymore. Vitamin D was actually super high. They're still dialing on the AI on this. Sometimes it reads stuff the opposite. IGF-1 was high. Test was high. So my RBC, urea nitrogen, lyse A, and my liver values were all high. So troubleshooting wise, think, what the hell is going on? Why are those all high when they're always low for me? Well, we go in here with the insights. Could be dehydration. I was sweating my literal ass off for 10 days without air conditioning. I think by that time they'd put the window unit in my room, but I was still waking up sweating every night. What had actually happened is there's a little piece that goes between hot and cold when you use the thermostat, and that broke outside, I guess, and got stuck between the hot and the cold and was blowing hot air in when it was 90 degrees outside at the same time I was using the AC. So yeah, it was fucking steaming in here. So I had blood work in the morning. I think I chugged over half a gallon of water as I'm walking out the door. It still wasn't enough. And if you look at all the markers that are off, they all point to dehydration. And I unfortunately think I kicked the can on this and didn't get a good reading because of that. So we'll go here. No excuses as I always say, but I've made some changes since getting this blood work back too. The hydration part, it is what it is. I was sweating my ass off all night. Expression stress. Yeah. I was also, because they had that window unit in, I was having a little bit of a sinus infection too. So that explains that there to a T. It's getting bloody noses and just like the green stuff in my sinuses, just because that air unit pulls in all the air from outside. I have allergies and all that too. So it totally makes sense why that was high also. Right now I'm on a cruise, so dosage wise, it doesn't make sense for it to be inflammation from that. But you can see all my other inflammation markers were good too. So that's how I've kind of pinpointed and problem solved exactly how to fix it. AGFR was good. Creatinine was good. Sodium was super low. And And that's probably from sweating all night, honestly, all day and night. It was actually hotter in the house than it was outside at certain times. Like, it felt hotter because the humidity gets stuck in there. But common in sauna users, I was in a sauna for 10 days straight. So, I mean, I've been adding a little more salt to my meals just to compensate a little bit, but I don't think it's that low at this point now that I have everything back. See, the AST and ALT were just slightly high. You've been training hard. Yeah, I was pissed off and probably knocked it from here to there because I did it literally like maybe 12 hours before my draw. Now, cholesterol. See, my triglycerides versus Nico is very, very different. I do still dabble with the Reddit here and there. I'm not like using it as hard as I was on my cut, obviously. But if your diet's dialed in, there's no way your triglycerides should be high. The last time I had them checked, I was down in like the 30s when I was using Reddit and like doing an hour of cardio every day. 60 is a good spot for it. Honestly, it's right in the middle of the range. That's with eating quite a bit of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, if I'm being honest with you. So the high days I eat that. And sometimes I just eat it in the morning. I don't feel like doing cream or rice. So that's with eating sugary food even mixed in. But because the diet and the cardio is in place, I don't worry about that. My cholesterol and HDL is the same as his, and I just came off of orals. So it just shows you if you have the diet dialed in, your blood work will come back much, much better. So non-HDL is only 66, which is amazing. I'm still using ezetimibe. I was out of it for a little while right before this draw though, so it could have been even lower, honestly. But you definitely want this number to be in range. But more so the ApoB is the one you really, really worry about, and that's one we reviewed last time. It was a little high when I was blasting Tren and Anadrol at one point, but you can see this is back in range. We're good. We're not getting all those little arthrogenic particles, so they're the ones that really get stuck and promote plaque buildup. So you want that number low. That's the big one now they're really testing for. LH, FSH, they're going to be low. We're on testosterone. Prolactin being a little high is not out of my norm. Vitamin D was the interesting one. I've been supplementing with it because I'm typically a little bit on the lower end. And I was way high. So I just stopped supplementing with it. That was honestly easy enough to fix. It was kind of crazy. I did not expect that to happen. Some of it's probably also the dehydration because the calcium imbalance. I think if you're sweating a ton, you're losing a lot of minerals. That could have been playing into it some also. My CRP was just about non-existent, which is where you want it. And that's your chronic inflammation. GGT was great, and that tests your liver function. That's one of the more in-depth ones. We're very good there. Fasting insulin. I was not fasted. I never fast. So that shows you. I'm in a pretty good spot with that. So I probably should have. I didn't realize insulin was on this panel. Usually when insulin is, I will actually do a little bit of fast. As I said, I typically will monitor my own glucose if I feel like it's to a point where it's getting bad. Ferritin, not the best. I mean, my iron was okay though, and it's kind of a weird relationship there. But IGF-1 obviously high on GH. Same thing with T3 and T4 being off. That doesn't surprise me. SHBG being off on testosterone, not surprising. Lipo-A being good, not surprising. Estrogen being where it is was actually surprising. I'm not gonna lie, because typically I run on the high end. I aromatize fairly heavily, so it's good that it's staying lower this time. I think staying leaner as I start to add food back is part of that reason. And then the creatinine, I don't even know why that was high, because my ratio was fine. Dehydration. Yep, there you go. Over and over again. And then same thing here, the Glace-A, I don't ever get this tested, so I don't know where it usually is, and it's literally right at the top of the range. It was slightly high. And it says chronic inflammation, poor metabolic, high stress, not recovering well. I slept a total of 6 hours in 3 days that week, so I would say it's probably recovery more than anything else. Sleep quality is the big thing, it looks like, for that. And once again, my air conditioning was out. So at the end of the day, blood work honestly wasn't bad outside of those markers, all from the dehydration and just sweating. Stop. Sweating and stress, really, and it all makes sense to why they would be off. Obviously, I'd like to get these tested again just to see if they come back down. It's not a bad idea, smart idea to do, but go ahead, and this is something that interests you, like getting your own blood work done. I think it's extremely important. Most people don't do it. It's one of the things I make my guys do as part of the coaching service. Even, in my top tier plan, I pay for your first blood draw. I make sure that we get your blood work done and we get it tested. I offer the blood work. I offer a TRT clinic. There are many, many things that we offer in terms of services that many coaching places don't, quite frankly. But I care about making sure that you're performing and feeling at your absolute best. So I have paid out of pocket for all these services for you guys. So if it is interesting to you that you want to get your blood work done, you want to look at coaching, anything like that, they will be down in the description below. Go ahead, give that a click. Go ahead, like, share, follow. Do what you got to do. Leave a comment down below on what you think about my blood work or Nico's. I know it came off as kind of harsh on him, but honestly, sometimes you need to hear it. So we will be live again on Wednesday. Eric, Colton, and I prepare any questions you have there. So if you get your blood work done, you want to ask about it in the chat, go ahead, drop it in there, and we will cover it. See you guys in the next one.